Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Herstory Online Summit, day 25. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning. It's good to see you.
Awesome to be here.
I want to introduce you to my little grandson. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
This is Mana.
Hello.
Can you say hi?
Hey. What's your
Mana.
name?
Mana.
Mona, it's wonderful to meet you. Are you going to be working with Grandma today?
Probably not. He just was in here, and I thought it would be fun for him to get to meet you.
Oh, fantastic. Lovely to meet you.
Say nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you too.
Oh, how old are you?
I just turned 4 right now.
He just turned 3. Oh, wow.
Oh,
You're a
4.
big
He
boy.
said 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah, 4.
You're a big boy.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
So he goes to kindergarten?
Not yet. Not yet. That'll be next year.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, have a good day.
Okay.
We'll see you again next time, okay?
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, how beautiful.
You can stay and play if you want, buddy. Okay?
So it's a grandma day today because I will have my little one a bit later on.
Yeah.
My daughter has gone to the hairdressers, so from about 9:30, you probably will have to take over. I'm not sure what he's going to be like.
His dad's here already, but I just wanted you to see him because he's a good little guy.
I love it.
So you weren't here yesterday when I announced that my grandkids from American Idol, Ammon and Leahona, have their first album out.
Oh, are you serious?
It's Ammon and Leahona, Gotta Move On. It's a wonderful new album. They just came out with the day before yesterday. And so
that is fantastic, Jerry. You must be so proud of them.
They're doing good. They've done some concerts. We got to go to one of their concerts. We got another one coming in June. And it is so exciting to see them in concert. Wow, it's so much fun. Wow. Our family got a little on the wild side, though. There was a lot of excitement.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, so it's been this is their full album. They had a concert CD that came out at the time of the concert, but this one's they recorded it in Nashville, Tennessee, with a really great producer, and they were allowed to do all the things that they like to do. I mean, their producer before wasn't allowing them to express themselves enough, right. And so they're extremely happy with it because they got to do what they wanted to do. And when you have an artist, you need to allow them to
be who they are, right?
Right. And they were, I've never seen Leahana that happy about working. She just, when she was telling me about it, she just lit up. She says, Grandma, they're letting us be ourselves and do the music the way we want to do it. And it sounds.
That's what happens with musicians.
Yeah.
Their creativity gets stifled.
Yeah, well, this one's a good one. They didn't stifle them this time. So
that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. So the beautiful Karen is going to be joining us, Karen Oyster from the US. I'm just going to send her the link.
Okay.
She's practicing her speech to do a TED Talk. So she came online the other day, did a fantastic job. We gave her some feedback. So she's got a second version of her presentation. So I'll quickly send her an email so she knows where to come in.
Sounds wonderful. I'm excited.
Yeah, no. And that's the beautiful thing about the Herstory movement. We're starting to see our speakers really do some amazing things. So she said she's coming in at 4 p.m. Eastern. What time is it in the US now, Jerry?
2 p.m. So 4 p.m. Eastern is real close to now. They're 2 hours ahead of us. So
yeah, so this is the time she's coming in. Okay, good.
Yeah, she
I've
should be
just
coming
emailed
on
her
right
the
now.
link. That's
wonderful.
excellent. So what I'll do, Jerry, is I'm going to put her bio in the chat.
Okay.
If you could read that before she comes on. So this weekend is an amazing, before we start our day, I need to acknowledge custodians of the land that I'm standing. Privilege of attending an Aboriginal art auction last night. It's called Painted Stories, and it was an auction of Aboriginal women's art. Jerry, the pieces of art give you goosebumps just looking at the visuals. It was just the most, I don't even have the words to express how I'm feeling this morning. What I did manage to do was to record the video of the opening of this event, and I managed to create and intersect the video with the art pieces, some of the art pieces. So I'll be sharing that this morning as the first thing we do. So I want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and extend that to the people today. Thank you for hosting me in your beautiful country, allowing us to broadcast our stories to the rest of the world through this beautiful platform called the internet. So that's the video we're going to start off with, Jerry. And then throughout the day, we have a few speakers who will come in and they will be presenting live. And we have speakers who we have pre-recorded videos. We will also go through and tell the stories of each of the pieces of art that was exhibited. Every piece of painting had a story behind it. And this is what was so moving and fascinating about these art pieces. It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Wow.
Okay, so it looks like my video is very static.
Mm-hmm. It is.
How are you experiencing the video?
Your video's a little, and your sound is breaking up just a bit.
Okay. I'm not sure what's causing that. Karen, I have sent you the video, the link to come in through email. I think I see you there on Facebook saying you haven't received the link. I just emailed it to you now. And Khadija, I can see you're with us as well this morning. If you would like to come on and join us, I am going to put the link in the chat right now. Let's see. So Karen, I've sent you the link.
Karen's in.
Email.
Karen's in. We need to.
Excellent.
I'll turn on her video.
Jerry?
She's not. She's in, but she. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
She's all the way in now. Oh, good.
Okay. Hey, Karen.
Hey, how are you? Let me add a little bit more light real quick.
So Karen will be our first speaker, and then we'll go on to this Aboriginal art.
Okay.
So what I was saying, Jerry, each of the pictures is a story, and it's absolutely fascinating, but we'll read out the bios and the story behind each picture before we and tell the story so people can actually see the women behind the stories.
That's
so
awesome.
Karen, welcome. She is the founder of Energized by Joy. She is a dream igniter who helps professional women uncover their passions, and celebrate everything life has to offer. She bravely shared her story in an Amazon best-selling book called Aspire: Women Finding Their Purpose, to inspire women to reframe the lessons of their past, to learn how they can serve others to make the world a better place. Financial literacy for her is Karen's other baby. The coaching program is specifically designed to help women overcome their fear of money and empower them to build generational wealth. Thank you so much, Karen. I'm excited to see what you've managed to do with your presentation. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm just such a big fan of the Herstory, the summit, the conference, and all of the, women that come around the globe, and even the men that are coming in and being able to benefit from what we share here. So thanks again for having me. So the name of my presentation for you is Dare to Dream Your Dream. My life was very different 8 years ago. I had a high-paying corporate job. I lived in a big house, drove a nice car, could afford to go on big fancy vacations. Then bam, everything changed for me when I was in a car accident. I was T-boned in front of my doctor's office, and I subsequently was on bed rest for 12 weeks from the injuries that I sustained. It was probably the first time that I'd been still in decades. My life would continue to take many twists and turns from there. I struggled with Lyme disease, and then I also was diagnosed with third stage colon cancer. While those experiences may seem awful, I view them as a gift, because the reality was I was living a miserable, joyless life, and it gave me a chance to reflect and realize that I had spent the first 40 years of my life living somebody else's dream for my life. And some of the lies that I was keeping inside of myself that were keeping me from my dreams were, I'm an introvert. I don't do relationships. No one cares about me. Wealth would destroy my character. The concepts of words having power seem like nonsense. I hate working with professional women. The coaching business is a scam. My story is not worth sharing. Who wants to be associated with a freak like me? I also realized that I had to change my tribe. Most of the people in my life were trying to take me back to my old days, or they are marinating in their pain and refuse to take action and do anything about it. So then I was at a crossroads, because I had uncovered all this negativity and all the lies that were keeping me where I was, but I wasn't sure what to do next. I was ready to make a change and didn't know how. So I hired a coach who asked me what my dreams were. I answered her by telling her what my dreams weren't, but I realized I hadn't actually taken the chance to give myself permission to go and see what they might be. So then she told me to close my eyes and start to explore. And after that, I am so happy to tell you that I'm in the middle of living my dream. I am now a dream igniter who helps women step into new levels of financial freedom with confidence and unstoppable joy. So today I'm here to tell you about this dream sequence that I have come up with called Daring to Dream Your Dream, that will help you uncover your dream without having to go through the personal crisis that I went through to activate it. So what I would like you to do now is I'd like you to close your eyes. And what I'd like you to do is to remove all the negativity in your life, whether those are people, whether those are negative thoughts you have, even if those are your negative thoughts. Who are some of the people? Are you doing a job that you're not interested in doing? What I would like you to do, remember, this is your dream. So you can put those aside for now. They'll be there later. But we want to make this a pure dream. And then what we'd like to do is I would like to move you forward, because we've removed that negativity. What I'd like you to do now is I'd like to think about, what is your dream? What would you be doing in your dream? Where would you be? Would you be changing the environment that you're currently in? I want you to think about what drives you. What motivates you? What brings you alive? What makes you forget to eat? I want you to dig deep and think about what's that passion? What are those visions? What are those images? What are those things that you see that get you excited? Do you have a favorite smell? Bring all your senses into it. Is there something? Is there a place you like to go? Do you like to hike? Do you like to be by the ocean? Do you like to be by the lake? Go there and just sit back and think about what do I want to be? What do I want to do? And I'd like you to think about what are you doing for a living? Are you going to work for a big company or are you going to work for a small company? Or maybe you're going to be an entrepreneur and start your own business, or you're going to freelance, or maybe do what I did, write a book. And that's something all these things, these are things people have maybe thought about, they pop into your brain, but you're like, no, I could never do that. But guess what? This is your dream and you can do that. Now, where would you live in your dream? Would you live in a big neighborhood or would you live in a small neighborhood? Would you like to go out to the country and be around all the animals? Look at the goats, look at the cows, look at the horses prancing around. Now, another thing that we often don't think about is who we were called to serve. Each one of us has something inside of us. They've proven time and again that we do better, that we can step into who we're called to be when we're giving to others. And so who would you be giving to? Who would you be serving? Are you somebody who would like to work with children? Or would you like to work with the elderly? Or rescuing dogs? Or would you be doing missionary work? It doesn't matter, but it's whatever you would like to do. Now, what I would like you to think about too is, as you're thinking about serving those people, envision those faces and think about that, because that can motivate you. Now, I'd like you to think about who would be supporting you in this dream. Who's in your tribe? Who are you surrounding yourself by? And now, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to open your eyes. And I forgot a very important piece of this, and I'm glad we're all friends. I forgot to take you to your retirement, but that's what we would do next. We'd take you into your retirement, and I'd have you think about, what you would be doing in your retirement. Because, some people, they want to be surrounded by their grandchildren. Or some people want to be jet setting, getting on planes, going different places. Some want to be quiet, some want to be busy. Where would you be? Now, this is when you would open your eyes. And I want you to think about where you were at when you started listening to this today, where you went, and at the end of your retirement, is where you're going to get you there. And that's what I want you to be thinking about, because that is where your passions are. That's what gets you excited. And then what I want you to do is think about it. You need to write it down. You need to tell somebody about it so that they can keep you accountable. Because if you just keep it to yourself on those tough days, you won't have anybody to say, I'm here to cheer you on. I'm here to help you realize your dream. So then what I would like you to do is I want you to think of an acronym. There's an acronym that I'm going to give you, and it's called, it's DREAM, because we're daring to dream, right? So that acronym is DREAM. And so D, that stands for dare to dream your dream. No one else's dream for your life. R is to remove all the negativity, the people, the thoughts, even jobs. E is to embrace your innermost passions in all areas of your life. A is to activate your senses, imagination, and the possibilities. And M is make it a reality. Take action by creating a dream board. Tell a friend, get a coach, an accountability partner, and make sure that you stay on track. So that is what I'm passing on to you today so that you can always remember dream. And I look forward to hearing what your dreams are. And all of us look forward to hearing where you went on that journey. So thank you very much for having me.
I am having technical problems today, so my apologies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was having technical difficulties because my notes flow everywhere. So you got what I have memorized.
Well, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was
awesome. Wonderful. It's exciting to hear when someone is kind of in a rut and stuck. And even though you were doing good things, you were making good money, you were having, what was a pretty good life. But when you realize that you're not living your dreams, it's an awakening. And that's what it seemed like you were telling us, is you were awakened to what you really want.
Yes, it was, and that's why, that's funny because one of the things I call myself is a blessing finder, but that's because no matter what happens, there was a blessing in it. But I've already taken a few people through this exercise before they have a traumatic event. And that's when I said, I've got to get this message out, because so often we hear people having to go through a traumatic event to get their attention. And so I'm here to say, let's do it in our 30s, not wait till the rest of us in our 50s.
Yes.
Wonderful. Now, Karen, the thing that fascinates me about your story is that you have this ability to cut to the chase. You were down, everything that could go wrong went wrong. Your health, your finances, your relationships, your friends. It's like you cleaned a slate and you had to start all over again. So if there's a woman who's listening to us right now in the same situation, afraid to move out of her comfort zone because that's all she knows, what 3 nuggets of wisdom can you tell her?
What I'm envisioning as you say that is I'm envisioning a river. And actually, let me just go with this metaphor. As I'm getting it downloaded as I'm speaking to you, but I'm seeing like 3 stones. And that's actually, it's 3 parts, because right on that other side is everything that you want, but you can't get it when you're standing here. And then what you do is as you're walking across each one, you'll get new wisdom. I guess that's one of the pieces, is there is wisdom to be had in the everyday. And that is what gives me energy. I'm actually in the middle of starting a radio show called The Blessing Finder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have people call me in cold without knowing their issue to say, I don't care how bad it is, I will help you find a blessing in that. Because that is the key to getting through. Because you know what, is a second piece of wisdom is that the way it works with the seed when they're growing. So if you put a seed, step number 1, then it gets completely destroyed, and then it grows. Nothing can grow without a little bit of pain. And what I try to do to soften it, I actually call it an ouchie. You have to go through some ouchies. I still say that to myself today, and it really helps me. So it's like, okay, this is an ouchie to get me to the next step.
Yeah.
And then I cannot emphasize enough the importance of tribe. And because you need people who will love you enough to tell you the ouchies, but also not people that are going to make you live in your ouchies and talk about your mistakes. Because we all make mistakes. As many blessings as I have that many mistakes. But what do I focus on? And so every night before I go to bed, I ask myself, what do I need to keep today? And what do I need to throw out? And you know, with my kids when they're growing up, when they're growing up, we were in the minivan, and I always say, we're going to throw out the grouchies, you know. And that's what I do. Every night I go to bed just saying, you know what, I love whoever spoke to me, even if it was wrapped in a really mean, ugly package. And what they said, if there was truth, let me hear it. And then I bless them abundantly. I bless everybody abundantly, no matter what they did to me each day.
That's
amazing. I love that. That's so beautiful. My grandmother used to say that every day comes with a blessing or a teaching.
Mm-hmm.
The good things are your blessings. The bad things are just the lessons. Those are the teachings. Those are the ouchies you're talking about, right?
Yeah, and I don't know anybody who's been on the other side of a pain. There's a victory in that. Yeah. There's a victory. Say, I survived. And there's people around. I mean, that's why we love redemption stories, right? Us humans are designed to say, I love a redemption story.
Yes.
And so surround yourself by the people who will breathe into that redemption story and not remind us who we were.
Yeah. Because the past is done. You can't go back and change it. There's no point in using your energy and focusing on it. And the other thing about the 3 stones, I use a road that it's like you're driving on a road at night with your headlights on.
Mm-hmm.
You can only see 2 meters ahead of you, but you know the road is there.
Yeah.
Your job is just to keep driving. The road reveals itself as you go. So your analogy of the stones, it's the same thing. The other stones go up and you'll be guided as to where you're supposed to be going from there.
And there'll be rapid rivers between the stones, and that will be there. But you can say this scares me, or this is going to get me to where I want to go.
Yeah. And even the fear is a good thing, because fear is just an energy you can transmute into excitement. It's the same kind of energy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Jerry, I can see you want to jump in here.
This is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. I am a firm believer that when you are able to think positive about things, it becomes. And whenever you are able to allow yourself, then you can do. A lot of times our fear is us not allowing ourselves to be happy or to find that joy. And there are so many different, I was sitting while you were talking, Karen, and thinking, man, there's a lot of places in my life I have joy. You know, that just makes me so happy to even be able to say that.
And even your body language, I could see on the other side of it, your body language is a little bit different. And it's just like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah, this is the way I like to live life. And so it's a very great message. And I was trying to take notes when you were saying the dream, and I only got to DR. What was EAM?
Okay, this is why we know we're live, because I've been working.
I'm sorry.
I haven't memorized my own acronym. But what it is that the dream.
Yeah.
Well, A is activate.
Activate. Okay.
And M is to make it happen.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I love it. So we have our next guest lined up. So Karen, I'm looking forward to seeing the next version as we develop this and get you onto the TED platform. I will take it apart later today, give you some more feedback, and you're welcome to come back again. We've got another.
Would you like me to re-record it? Would you like me to re-record it, since it wasn't as clean as it could be?
If you could re-record it and send me the video, then I will break it down, give you feedback like I did the last time.
Okay, that sounds great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Karen. Have a fantastic
day. I'll see you next week with the revised version.
Yes. We're looking forward to it. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We have Ronnie waiting to come in, and he's in.
There he is. Yeah, I just added him. Hey, Ronnie.
Okay, good.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How are you?
Good, thank you, ladies. I'll say wrap to be here. It's exciting. I was thinking there was an issue with my audio, but I was in the background.
Yes, you were backstage.
Backstage, that's what you call it. But
so
cool.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce you, Ronnie. I just want to make people aware that our movement encompasses men from all walks of life. If you are a male with an inspiring story to share, please register and be a part of this movement. When I met Ronnie, I had no idea what he was going to reveal in terms of the things we have in common. So I'll just briefly read what the organization he stands for, their mission statement. And if I mispronounce the word, please correct me when you start speaking, Ronnie. So it's Suki 222 is the name of the organization. And they promote and help achieve universal basic human rights of the dignified access within civil society to a minimum of 2 gallons of water a day, 2,000 nutritional calories, and 200 feet of secure shelter. Our mission is to advocate for the dignified access for adequate food, water, and shelter for the global population, to educate and enable every individual to achieve and maintain a self-sustainability in a cohesive, healthy society with others and with our environment. So I was excited when I first interviewed Ronnie. Some of you might have seen the podcast interview we did a few weeks ago. Ronnie, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to our tribe formally. The stage is yours. So we are going to disappear backstage. You will be on camera on your own, but we're here listening. When you're finished, we'll come back on and we'll do a Q&A session very similar to what we did with Karen.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. And
We can hear. Oops, sorry. I removed the wrong person. Sorry.
yeah, all good. Yeah, look,
Go ahead.
that's so. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And yeah, you've explained it exactly. Our mission and our vision and what we do is exactly that. It's a global organization, and humbled and excited to be a part of it. It's been about 2 years, just over 2 years that I joined, the organisation, and it was through a gentleman named Charles Halsopple in the US, and he needed some support, and he said people like me, but it was just the beginning for me. But the reason why I joined this organisation, and just to explain, Suki is actually an acronym, Sustainable, Unified, Kinetic, Holistic Initiative. So, and it's a metric or measure, on the US metric. So obviously gallons and feet. So it's yeah, it's been exciting. And what we do is gratifying, because you look to see that there's people out in the world that need us, and to give back is just something that I enjoy so much. There's two things that I can give, which is time and money, and sometimes that they vary. It could be 20 hours and a little bit of money, or a little bit more money and 5 hours a week. So I do my best to help and support. And interestingly enough, I had a call just before to a gentleman in Malawi, and supporting him and helping him in something that we're a project that we're working on, in terms of an art project. So yeah, the power of giving, and the reason why I'm here to discuss it is 2 years ago I went on the journey uh, to really explore myself, and also to give back. And what I've found over those 2 years is that people need help, but on the other side of that, there's independence and accountability, and they want to own the issues that are out there in the world and society. It's just they just need that roadmap, or support, or that resource and understanding on how to do it. And yeah, I've gone through a lot of social research initiatives to understand what the underlying issues are, and it's beyond our 222. It's not only the food, water, and shelter. It's actually the education systems, and the support mechanisms on how to do it, because it's not sustainable. Giving $100 today will run out tomorrow, and how do we make that sustainable? And I have to say, governments around the world are not doing their part. And how do we, as a society, step in and do this? So, yeah, that's currently what we do, and what I'm doing. And I love doing it. I love giving that 10, 20 hours a week to help people, and waking up in the morning and seeing my 10, 15 WhatsApp messages across, we'll call it the globe, but mainly in Africa, that they're asking questions on, how do I do this, where do I go, what do I post? And yeah, doing that really helps myself, coming from we'll call it a privileged life. uh, yeah, so that's in a nutshell, over the last 2 years, what I've been doing, and the journey. So that's pretty much it.
Wow. Now, Ronnie, when we had our first conversation, I asked you how much it costs, the units that you're distributing for clean water, and you really framed it in a way that completely blew me away. Can you explain to people how your project works?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been going into individual countries as what we'll call it like a proof of concept, to demonstrate that we can go into a particular country, form I guess a unified partnership with a local NGO, and we target 22 water filters. Clearly, the number two is important for us. So we go into, say, Malawi, we go with 22 water filters. It costs about $1,100, which is about $50 a filter. But then when we look at that, and how long it lasts, it actually lasts for 10 years. So that's $5 a year, and it helps about 1,000 people. So it's like 50 cents per person per year to get clean water through our filters. So when you start to break down the numbers, it's cost effective, but yeah, it's only 50 cents a year to give one person clean water for the year. It saves so many lives, and it removes all the waterborne diseases.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that is incredible. What are your thoughts, Jerry?
I I I always thought that to go in and do anything to help people with water was, thousands and thousands of dollars. That much, 22 units that lasts a year each. That's huge.
10 years. So one water
Years.
filter will
Well,
last 10 years.
that's even more mind-boggling to me, because I always thought it was like almost so hard to do. Doesn't sound like it's a difficult thing to do.
You're right. I mean, in essence, we grab the 22 water filters, we ship them from the US, and it goes to a particular country, like I said, Malawi or Uganda or Kenya or Cameroon, and many others, Botswana. We've got 17 countries that we've done this proof of concept, and yeah, obviously looking, like most, looking for funding to scale that up to, 222 water filters per country, and then 2022, and etc. So, yeah, and that's the amount of people we help is, yeah, significant.
Would you please put the information on where to donate in our chat, or wherever Gage wants you to put it, so that we can, because that's something I would definitely be interested in joining in on.
I'm gonna
We
put
take it
our
so for granted here in the United States that we have good water. I mean, we complain about our city water, and it's nothing compared to what they're dealing with, and to the idea that they can have fresh water. Water is a big part of what keeps our body healthy,
It's
and
everything.
it's everything. And so I just am amazed that these filters are that good.
Now, Ronnie, have you partnered with any organizations that drill boreholes?
Um, right now, our projects are water filters, but you're
Yeah.
correct that you're correct. The more we look out there, that we've got to diversify how we actually do our projects, and
Mm,
there are bore water holes and wells and many other ways that we can do this. But
yeah.
in essence, we're grabbing they're fascinating. Once you see these videos, you actually see this lake water or river water.
Hmm.
It's brown and green and etc. It comes through this water filter and it comes out
Right.
clean, and it comes out clean for our communities to drink. But to answer your question, yes, we're looking at other projects.
So,
Oh, wow.
as I understand, there's a lot of places they don't even have water.
Yeah. And
And
that's why I'm asking. Right now, I'm trying to fundraise for 300 children in the Namibian desert. I have a good friend, Sebastian, goes around the world helping indigenous communities. He sent me a text message just a couple of days ago saying he's found a community that has 300 orphaned children and there's no water at all. They're in the middle of the desert in Namibia. So we're trying to find some resources to sink a borehole there, and maybe we could get one of your filters to service that little community.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we have to do. We have to collaborate with other
Mm,
organizations and
yeah,
people. We wouldn't physically be able to do it on our own in terms of that because
yes.
we have one system. But like you said, if we can have multiple organizations, people to coordinate something like that, that would be unbelievable.
that makes a
And
lot of sense.
also Rotary International. So I'm the president-elect for Rotary International Southwest USA, believe it or not, sitting in Melbourne, Australia. I used to live in New Mexico, and they created an online Rotary club. So I'm trying to, through Rotary, find ways that we can help and support initiatives like yours. Rotary International will match you. It used to be dollar for dollar for every cent you raise for any philanthropic um, cause, but it's gone down slightly to 80%. So if you raise a dollar, they'll give you 80 cents.
I'll tell
I
you
just
what,
did some training
that's fantastic.
yesterday. Yeah, I've just finished training yesterday because I'm going to be the president next year. So I'm being trained up for next year. So we need to talk, Ronnie, so we can see how we could pair you up with people who are actually drilling the boreholes and you guys
Yeah,
come in with
fantastic.
filters.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think that would be a phenomenal project.
yeah, and obviously our connection has just started. I think it's 6 or 8 weeks old. So yeah, definitely, Gertrude, I'd love to continue our conversations offline on how we I guess connect all that together. That would be
Yes.
unbelievable. I think you did mention Rotary, but yeah,
Yeah.
we had a few things on our agenda, but that would be
Yeah.
unbelievable. Yeah,
You
yeah,
did
that would
talk
be
about a lot of things. One thing I haven't asked you is what inspired you to get involved in this project?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I did mention that at the start in terms of my story, but the way it happened was 2 years ago. Uh, it was around the start of the year. It was 2020, something like that. I really felt that there was a bit of stagnation in my life, and I wanted some new reinvigoration and give back and do something different. I had some time, but what did I want to do? I didn't want to really study and things like that. So I thought that this would be actually really good. I feel that I've got leadership and then many other aspects that would help help people. So I thought, you know what, I really want to give back. That's what I want to do, and I just started to, put it out to the universe, and it was just staggering. Within a week, I got a message from someone to say, "Hey, are you interested in joining our organization?" I'm like, man, that's just staggering how that happens. Manifested, and it just came, and then
Yeah.
yeah, within 2 3 weeks, I was in front of the director of Suki 222 saying, "Yeah, let's join us because you've got the right skills." And so that's great. That's one thing to have the skills, but the other is to have the want or the will to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've just been joining from there. And yeah, it's just great. I'll can't look back now on that. Just only forwards on everything I want to do, and there's so much more I want to do within this, in helping people.
Amazing. Well, you have our support. Just keep on keeping on. What I would love to do is actually create a project. Oh, somebody's wanting to.
Yeah, they let the little doggy in, and he's giving me so I moved him. Sorry.
I would love to see how we as a community could partner with you, because this is a passion project for me. I know what it's like to grow up in a village with no electricity, with no running water, no safe drinking water. There's so many waterborne diseases that come out of it. And yeah, for me to get to the age of 55 and having survived all of that, it is a real passion project for me. So I can see us collaborating and working and supporting your efforts as well, wherever you are. So thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. And you're a real example of what happens when you just say yes when you see an opportunity. A lot of people hold back. They're trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
You felt a need to give and you stepped right into it. Yeah. It's the only
We
way
need
to
more
do it,
people.
right?
We need more people, inspirational people like you guys to give back. When I say you guys, yeah, gals, all of us. But even listening in backstage, just inspired me that that 5-10 minutes just listening. That we just need more people out there in the world that can give back, because I have to say, and I'm not going to get political, but governments aren't doing enough,
No.
which is frustrating and stifling.
Mhm.
So we've just got to step in and do it ourselves, and the difference we can make. Uh, like I said, taking a call is only time. It doesn't cost you anything to help
Yes.
somebody else out. So let's do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Fantastic.
I have a philosophy about that. I've never never really been depressed in my life, which is pretty amazing. But part of the
Great.
reason for that is I've always believed that if we feel down, we can lift ourselves up by helping another.
Mm.
Whenever we serve another person, we forget ourselves. We forget
Yeah.
our challenges seem so small when we're able to give or do for someone else. And so I think that's the best solution for depression, quite frankly. I think
It is.
if we just turn around and give to someone who's less fortunate than us, then we can see our real life, really what's going on.
It forces you to drop straight into gratitude.
Right.
You really see where you are in the world, how lucky you are
Hmm.
when you can compare yourself to somebody else.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
All
There's
right,
always someone.
it's getting
Thank you,
madness.
Ronnie.
It's getting madness in the house. So the kids are awake. They're getting ready for school. But
We will release you.
Coming,
Thank
Ronnie.
you so much.
it's it's been awesome. I really appreciate the again, Gertrude. We'll continue our
We
connection,
need to
and
meet in person. You're here in Melbourne. I'm
I
in
know
Melbourne. The next thing
I
is
had
a
a little
coffee break.
short black coffee, but let's have it face to face. But it's great to meet you. Is it Geraldine? Geraldine? How do you pronounce
Geraldine.
it?
Yeah, it's house
Geraldine. Yeah.
Geraldine.
We can. I put the website in the chat, but I
Thank you.
think we can make a connection. Do you have a LinkedIn as well?
I do, but I'm not really good at it. If you
She's
send it,
more on
Okay.
Facebook. She's more on Facebook than
I
All
am on,
LinkedIn.
right.
I
I'll
am on
get you.
Facebook.
I'll find you on
Okay,
Facebook, and
sounds
let's
great.
make a connection there. All right,
Sounds,
fantastic, ladies. What
Thank
you're doing is
you.
inspirational. Keep up the great work.
thank you. Thank
Thanks so
you.
much,
All
Ronnie.
right.
Take
All the
care.
best.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Have a
Bye.
great day. Bye.
Oh, wow. These are the amazing stories we get to share, Jerry. So
Yeah.
there is Ronnie's website. If anybody wants to
Okay, let me go to
buy
it.
a water filter that can support community for 10 years, please go onto that website, Sukhi, SUKHI, 222.org. Fantastic. So next we're going to share a video of an organization where I've been volunteering in the last 3 months. This organization is called Initiatives for Change. And I'm actually thinking I might do a full presentation about them just to shine a light on their work globally, the work they do within communities. Their focus is around peace, community building, and reconciliation. So it's Initiatives of Change Australia. The video I'm going to share with you, I recorded last night at the opening of an auction called Painted Stories, Women of the Central Australian Desert. And I'll tell you one thing, you have to see this art in person to fully appreciate it. They were large pieces, and you stand in front of one of those images and just try and imagine the human being who's put them together. So I've intersliced some of the pictures in this video. Please enjoy. And Jerry and I will be back after you've watched this amazing story of these amazing women from the Central Desert of Australia.
To begin with a welcome to country, and I'm going to invite Auntie Joy Wanda Murphy to come and join me on the stage. Thank you, Auntie Joy. Auntie Joy Wanda Murphy is a senior Wurundjeri elder of the Kulin Nation. Born in Hillsville, Auntie Joy's family never left Wurundjeri land, and she is the great niece of William Barrack of the Wurundjeri Willam clan. In 2002, she was awarded the Victorian Aboriginal Women's Award for being involved with Aboriginal issues for over 30 years. In 2006, Auntie Joy was made an officer of the Order of Australia for her service to the community through significant contributions in the fields of social justice, land rights, equal opportunity, art and reconciliation. Auntie Joy has filled many important roles in community building, and thank you for your incredible journey, including having been a trustee of National Gallery of Victoria. And so therefore Auntie Joy understands this very important role art plays in celebrating and informing culture. So thank you, Auntie Joy.
I can't see a thing. I'm coming down here. And I still can't see you. I'm sorry, I just don't take lights. So I just want to say though, there is a really important aspect that's come out of this, and I had no idea you were going to, have that little introduction, which is okay, and it's all true. But I just did want to make a very important point that being a trustee of the National Gallery of Victoria some years ago, and no offence to the men here or at any time, but it was purely men forever. And then I was the first woman and first Aboriginal woman, and I was very reluctant. However, a very dear friend who's passed now, who was on the board, said to me, we'd really love for you to be here because it's time to change, which is what this tonight is about as well. And I tell you what, it was a really steep learning curve, but one of the important things that I remember quite blatantly was that when I was to open my first exhibition in the first 2 weeks, I felt all alone until this beautiful man, who it's best not to mention his name, and that's a cultural thing. But yeah, because he was the one who held my hand through those 7 years. And today I'm pleased to say that we have a number of women as trustees of the National Gallery of Victoria. I think that's important, don't we, when we're talking about change. I'd like to begin by saying we meet on this beautiful, beautiful country of Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung, and never in my life did I dream I'd have the opportunity, the honour of speaking on my father's country. I'd like to acknowledge all ancestors, elders and communities across this great nation of ours and neighbouring islands. Tonight my niece Kim has come down with me, which is great. We've kind of got a few more women with us tonight. We have our beautiful Jiri dancers who will be, they'll be introducing themselves shortly. So to our men, brothers and sisters that are in the audience, I'd like to acknowledge your country and your community. To you, to each of you and your cultures, I acknowledge you and where you come from and of course who you are. Funnily enough, when I got this beautiful invitation, there was no hesitation. One of the reasons was because it's Central Australia women, and I'm actually a sister-in-law. That's my sister-in-law country. So I'm an Ngurei, so I'm very, very excited and quite emotional. But along my journey tonight, one of the most beautiful women that's with us still is Margot. And I can't thank you enough, Margot, for what you've done, along with Rachel, who, you know, who has since passed. But, you know, the journey that's been taken by many people with our community, someone doesn't always turn out the best, but in your case, both of you have brought together this beautiful exhibition tonight, and my heartfelt thanks. I guess when we talk about, Margie's mentioned, you know, about stopping and looking at art, the thing I've learned is that you can do that all you like, but something has to jump at you, or at least at me. And my heart tells me, you know, where this might come from or what it entails. But of course, the most important thing is to be able to speak to the artists themselves. So that's a couple of my learnings that have come across me over these many years. To have an exhibition such as this in this amazing building is truly beautiful. My preference would be for it to be out there on country. I remember saying to the MGB, it hasn't happened yet, but I'll keep digging away at it, that at one time might we ever have a space on the floor where the floor's been taken out and we have the very earth there, so that we can sit together and really admire where Aboriginal art comes from. One day. I don't mind you or anyone that's here, if you want to put your 2 bobs in, you know, to that, all the help is needed, because it's been a long journey for me. The other interesting thing that I just want to say, to have, you know, such an expression of art, and I've only just went through the catalogue and caught a number of paintings, but to have the expression and you're able to put that to, you know, to a canvas is just remarkable. And for me though, what comes underneath all of that is the beautiful stories. So I too, like Margie, would like to say, you know, of course, take your time. Of course you will appreciate that, because that's why you're here. But yeah, do what your heart tells you, and I'm sure that you have enough artistic license yourself to work out which one you might like to buy. I'm holding branches of gum leaves that come from where I was born, and very lucky to say that, I might add. You know, in my senior years, I'm able to say that I'm still living on the land where I was born, not so like with many of our community who still today don't know where they come from, who their belonging is, and may never know. So, you know, these are the occasions that we cherish and rightfully respect those who have walked and nurtured these lands before us. The invitation from these gum leaves is a gift to you, us being known as the Managum people. They're not Managum, but in traditional times, all the eucalypt that were available were used in ceremonies. So this gift comes to you, and I'm going to hand these around. May not be enough, but there are plenty out there, beautiful gum trees. So if you don't get a leaf tonight, you know, please, when you see a beautiful gum, that's another time to stop. Take a leaf from one of those branches, and accepting this gift means that you are welcome to everything from the tops of these trees to the roots of the earth. And it also means that because you accept this gift, that both of us get to honour the spirits of our ancestors who have nurtured this very land underneath this beautiful building for millennia. And also, because of the way that there's been terrible degradation of our country, then we need to work together, continue to work together, and for who knows how long. We may never, ever make those changes that should be, but at least if we start somewhere, we can continue to work together to re-nurture the country, maybe to what it was, and leave another lasting legacy for those to come. My language is the Woiwurrung language, Nunu, Wamenjaka, Wurundjeri Balak, Yemen, Frondibik, and you are most welcome to the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. Nojka, thank you. Pass it round to Jim.
I'm sorry, would you please ask them to take a leaf and then pass it on to the next one?
Yes, yes. So you'll have a branch coming around and you take off a leaf, and it's a beautiful gift, right, from Auntie Joy and the Rotary International.
I'm sorry, my next one.
Pass them on. Yes, and please come in, everyone at the back, please come in and find yourself a seat. Come on in, find yourself a seat. Plenty of seats up the front. Auntie Joy, I want to say, in the spirit of reconciliation, Initiatives of Change Australia acknowledges the traditional custodians of this land, peoples of the Kulin Nations. And we pay our respects to Indigenous leaders, past, present, and emerging. And we recognise our First Nations peoples as being the oldest living continuous people, are you ready for this, on this planet. So I'll just let that sink in, right? The significance of the culture and what we can learn. So IFC celebrates walking and working alongside Indigenous elders and leaders. I'm just going to add, years and years ago, Auntie Joy won't remember this, I wrote to Auntie Joy a long time ago. I was writing a novel and I wanted to quote her, and so you said, yes, you can say this. She spoke about the fire in your belly. The fire in your belly, and that phrase, that captured me so much. I still think about this, and I still teach this to kids. The fire, the passion. When you see something that needs to change in this world, you take that fire from your gut, from your belly, and you turn it into positive action. You are an absolute living example of that, Auntie Joy. We're going to welcome now the Jiri dancers, and they are the only female dance group, the only Wurundjeri female dance group, and traditional custodians of Naarm, which is Melbourne. The Jiri means willy wagtail in Woiwurrung, the language of the Wurundjeri people. The traditional custodians of Naarm, which is Melbourne, and surrounds. The willy wagtail, the spirit bird, gave us dance. And the Jiri dances are created to honour the Liwi, the ancestors, the Kurapnon, the family, and the Big, the country and animals. They are all related by blood through one woman, Annie Barrett, William Barrett's sister. And the Diri teach dancers to also sing in Woiwurrung language, the mother tongue. So please, thank you, welcome.
My name's Kai Nicholson Ward. I'm a proud Wurundjeri, Dja Dja Wurrung and Yule Ilmarung woman, and also have German and Irish ancestry as well. I just spoke in Wurrung language, my language. I acknowledged Ani Joy, my ancestors, my people. I acknowledge that we're in Toorak, which actually translates to Reedy Swamp, which is where we get our necklaces. Which is pretty funny considering the area is a very rich area and it's Reedy Swamp. But yeah, normally we have my mum, Mandy Nicholson, speaking and singing, but today we have to use modern technology to have her voice projected. Myself and Michaela will be talking, introducing our dances and the meanings of them. I just want to acknowledge the artworks here today and acknowledge the stories of the women who did the artworks. As an artist myself, and my mum Mandy Nicholson as well, it's really amazing to see the artworks and the unique stories that Aboriginal art showcases and how symbols represent things. And just a general fact, a lot of people don't actually know, like in Australia, a lot of people think there's one Aboriginal language, one mob, I don't know, some people think that. And in our culture, we're very diverse. Here in Victoria, we don't have dot art, which is a lot of what you see today from Central Desert. We have carvings and lines and circles that represent our landscape and our country, because we couldn't do artwork from desert because that's not our country, that's not our story. We would have no connection to that. So we're all one mob, we're all one people, but we have very diverse cultures. So I just wanted to address that because a lot of people don't know that. So I want to acknowledge everyone here today, the artists. I want to acknowledge, everyone. And we just did our Womaji Kanyaga, our welcome dance, and we used our gumleys, as Ani Joy said, from country to represent cleansing the Mother Earth, cleansing our country, and creating a very positive and welcoming vibe, and removing any negative spirits and energy. So, I just want to acknowledge everyone, and Michaela will introduce our next dance.
Hi everyone, my name is Michaela. Our next dance is our country dance, so our Bakanga, and this honours the 6 layers of country. So we have the big ut, the below country, and this is where we get our ochre from, as you see on our face, on our bodies, that we use for ceremony. Then we have the big dui, which is the on country, and this is where we practice those ceremonies and work and play and live. Then we have the Banyabik, so the water country, and obviously water is very important for our survival. And then we have the Merlin, which is the wind country, and this is where our voice travels through the wind. The smoke from the smoking ceremonies travels through and cleanses us all. We have the Wurrubik, the sky country, and this is where we see Bunjil and Wa in their physical form, so Bunjil the eagle and Wa the crow. And then we have Thamangolbik, which is the forest country above the clouds, and this is where Bunjil and Wa live. So this dance honours those 6 layers of country. Yeah.
Varangere varanjaya narapo 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 varangere varanjaya narapo 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 taranga taranga pe kunjula kunjula velamu
So the lyrebird, as you guys may know, can mimic lots of different sounds, like car horns, unfortunately chainsaws, that kind of stuff. And the lyrebird actually taught us language, and the Jitty, the Willy Wagtail, our namesake, taught us how to dance. So this lyrebird dance represents two males, fighting over the female, pretty much. The Woolen with the biggest and strongest, loudest voice wins over the female. So they're equal. So this represents that. But after this, we will actually head out. So, Ngojim, thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, yeah. That I have to ask you some questions about that artwork. Is it painted or is it woven?
It's painted. They paint with these dots.
Oh my goodness.
So what we're going to do next, I've emailed you, Jerry, a document with the stories of each of the pictures. So I will read a bio, you will read a bio. We're going to read the stories of each of these women and show the picture as close up as possible.
Okay, let's see.
But let me just read the backgrounds to this. So you check your email in the meantime while I read the background. So Initiatives of Change Australia presents the annual charity fundraising art auction, Painted Stories, Women of the Central Australian Desert. And it features First Nation female artists from the Central Australian Desert, including Gracie Morton, Mary Dixon, Kate Petrara, Lynn Grantes, Bessie Pijara, and as the oldest continuous community on Earth, Australia's Aboriginal First Nation people have been living on this soil for thousands of years. They've also been making art, first on rocks, in what is considered some of the world's oldest displays of art. The form and content of early images was based on sand mosaics, drawn on sand or painted on bodies and sacred objects. This extraordinary culture can now be seen through contemporary Australian Aboriginal art on canvas. Unique in style and often tied to significant parts of the artist's land, kinship, and totem, each work tells its story. The artworks express the beauty of women's business, ways of knowing, healing, and loving country. On the surface, these painted stories delight the eye with soft kinesthetic features or textures and vibrant interplay of glowing hues and intricate shapes. But these sophisticated paintings also express insightful cultural information, aerial perspectives, and seasonal patterns, maps of landscapes, and cues used for collecting water, food, and plants for ceremony and healing. So we're going to go through the catalog and we'll talk about each of the art pieces that you have seen. Let me see here. We'll start with the Bush Plum Dreaming by Gracie Morton. So Jerry, you will see that in the document I sent you.
Yes, I see it.
I've attached the pictures in that email as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I will display the pictures and we will read the story behind each picture so people know. This very first piece was the first to auction off yesterday. And I'm not sure if the sharing of my screen is going to do it justice, but we'll give it a try and see. Let's see here, share screen and window. It won't let me do that. So I might have to go to the email. Okay, so I can't display them in the order that's in the catalog, Jerry. So we'll have to find each picture.
Okay.
This is the first one I found. Share screen, Chrome tab. Okay. Now, I hope everybody can see this in the way that we're seeing it.
It looks pretty good.
All right.
Okay, so this is Women and Honey Ants Dreaming by Lynette Granites. Oh, some of these names, I hope I don't butcher them. Jingpa Bush Tucker. Okay. It's 90 by 150 centimeters. This painting depicts the honey ants and bush tucker dreaming. It's in mythical times as women ancestors traveled through Warlpiri country, they created geological features in the area and performing ceremonies that included dancing, singing, and painting their bodies. Ancestors also taught Aboriginal, I don't know how to say that word, Aboriginal people how to collect food after they went underground and changed into honey ants. In the middle of the painting, Lynette has shown a ceremonial place represented by concentric circles. In the middle of the painting, there are 2 underground chambers filled with larvae. The U shape symbolizes camping women, and next to their digging sticks and oval-shaped kulamans or wooden dishes. 2 circles on the top and bottom of this painting are filled up with honey, ants, and larvae. The undulating lines symbolize underground chambers of insects as well as ancestral traveling routes. Native ants produce sweet nectar in the abdomen, regarded as the delicacy among Aboriginal people. This was the main source of glucose for native and central Australia. The white bold dots are Wichita grubs, rich in protein. On the edges, there are bush tomatoes, bananas, and other fruits. Lynette is respected senior woman in regard to her traditional knowledge and artistic creativity. Lynette has inherited many important dreamings from her husband, Harry Nelson Jacamara, deceased in 2021. Her works are represented in Australia and overseas.
So when you really pay attention to these pictures, the way to look at them is from an aerial view. So the Aboriginal people believe in what they call dreaming, that we are always in a dream state. And so they paint from a very different perspective. And when you look at these pictures very closely, oh gosh, I like I said, I don't feel like I can justify what I saw yesterday. You have to see these pictures up front and live to really get a sense of them. I'll share the next one. Thanks, Jerry, for the effort there. You read that out really well. And I will read the story for the next image. Share screen again. Okay, I just need to find it. Make sure I have the right. Oh, I didn't share. There we go. So this image is called Women and Honey Ants. Oh no, that's the one you've read? Oh no, it's the same artist.
It's the same artist, yes.
Yeah. Women and Honey Ants Dreaming by Lynette Grenitz. Namapit Jinpa. It's 95 by 150 centimeters long. This painting, Women and Honey Ants Dreaming, depicts the story of honey ants dreaming. In mythical times, as women ancestors traveled throughout Warlpiri country, they created geographical features in that area and performed ceremonies that included dancing, singing, and painting. So this is very similar to what you've just read. Mm-hmm. After that, they went underground and changed into honey ants. The ceremonial places are represented by concentric circles. The spiral lines symbolize the ancestral travel routes. In the middle of this painting, there are 2 underground chambers filled with lava. The U-shaped symbols are camping women, and next to them, they're digging sticks and oval kulamuns or wooden bowls. So this is the same artist. That is her style. And what I love is they draw on nature and interpret what they see in nature in this art. It's just absolutely stunning. Let's look at the next piece, which is completely different. Do you want to say something, Jerry?
The cool thing about that is that's 2 of basically the same story, but they're completely different paintings.
Yes.
And colors, and that's kind of neat.
It's gorgeous. Let's find this one, Jerry. You're up next. This is the next painting in the catalog.
Okay, I have that one. This was Hair Strings Story by Mary Dixon. This painting by Mary Dixon, Nungurai, depicts the story of hair strings. In mythical times, women ancestors had traveled through Warlpiri country. As they traveled, they created many geographic features in the area. They also performed ceremonies, dancing, singing, and painting bodies. They had shown people how to make strings from hair, using them for ceremonies and in everyday life. Mary was a senior custodian for this dreaming deceased in 2020. The centric circles in the middle of the painting represent a ceremonial place. Semicircles stand for design painted on women's bodies during ceremonies. The sinusoid lines represent their hair strings. Mary's style, valued for the use of intricate dotting. Her works are represented in Australia and overseas. That one looks like hair, doesn't it?
It does.
Like a beautiful hairstyle. Like you'd like to have your hairstyle like that paint.
And the colors, again,
Yeah,
completely different.
I love those colors.
They draw their color palette from nature. The blue sky, they use the ochre red stone, and they crush that for the red and the yellow colors that we see.
Wow.
All right, we'll share the next one. Very, very similar to what we've just seen, but again, a different color palette. If you could find this one, Jerry. There we go.
Yeah, I did find it. I knew which one it was. Okay, this is Hairstring Story by Mary Dixon. And her last name, help me with the last name, please. It's Nungure. Is that correct?
Hold on, I just need to find the bio.
Okay.
So, Nungurai.
Gurai. I really want to pronounce their names correctly. Thank you for that.
I don't even know if I've done it right, so I'm just guessing.
This painting is 73 by 90 centimeters. This painting by Mary Dixon, Nugarari, depicts the story of hair strings. In mythical times, women ancestors had traveled through Warpuri country. As they traveled, they created many geological features in that area. They also performed ceremonies, dancing, singing, and painting bodies. They had shown people how to make strings from hair, using them for ceremonies in everyday life. Mary was a senior custodian for this dreaming deceased in 2020. The centuric circles in the middle of the painting represent ceremonial place. Semicircles strands for design painted on women's bodies during ceremonies. So the sinusoid lines represent hair strings. Mary's style is valued for the use of intricate dotting. Her works are represented in Australia and overseas. This one's really cool.
Fantastic, right?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. This is now completely different style. But what you have to realize about all of these paintings is they're small little dots. I don't know how many hours it would take to paint something like this.
Oh my goodness. I can't
Here's
remember.
the next one.
Okay. Okay, let's see. I gotta find that one. That one I took pictures of all these when you had them on the other one. Ooh, that one's pretty. Okay, let's see here. No, I haven't found it yet. Just a second.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite ones. I don't see it yet. Let's see here. I gotta go over. Oh, not that one. Not that one. Found it. Oh, that's so pretty. That was the first one on the display.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bush Seeds by Helen Rubuncha. Water Dreaming. So it's 89 by 95 centimeters. Bush Seeds, Water Dreaming by Helen Rubuncha represents places of Helen's country. In the Utopia region of Central Australia. The wild bush plum melon and grass seeds have an important significance in Illawarra women. This was a staple food for Illawarra people for centuries. Seeds that were ground up to make a type of flour for during the summertime, after the rain, women accompanied by children would collect fruits and perform ceremonies, reinforcing their connection to the land. Helen is one of the senior custodians for this dreaming. She has depicted the story using a delicate dotting technique and variation of colors, portraying seasonal changes of plants. The fine and multicolored dotting represents vegetation in different stages of growth and flowing water. Oh, I'm sorry, flowing water. Helen's style is minimalistic and lyrical. Her works are represented in Australia and overseas collections.
Fantastic.
This one has super cool colors.
It's awesome. This one is my favorite. And I have to say, when I saw this up front and close, it just completely blew me away. Again, I'm sure on video, it's not really showing what it looks like when we look at it in the catalog. But this one is called Dreaming Sisters by Cindy Wallace Nangariyari. There were two pieces. One was a 69 by 94 centimeter canvas. The other one was a 38 by 95 centimeter canvas. So Dreaming Sisters represents places in Cindy's country, Kerry, located in the Utopia region, 250 kilometers east of Alice Springs. The sisters were ancestral spirit beings who came from the sky to the earth during the creation time. They guided people how to collect and prepare food, and also how to perform ceremonies. Now, during the summer times, Anmatayirire women, accompanied by children, collect food and perform ceremonies to renew the story and reinforce their connection to the land. They also paint their bodies with aweli designs, sing, and dance. Cindy is one of the senior custodians for this dreaming. She has depicted the story using delicate dotting techniques and a variation of colors. The older sister in the middle of this painting teaches the younger ones how to collect food. This country is seen from an aerial perspective and portrays the seasonal changes of plants. Cindy's style is minimalistic and lyrical, and her works are represented throughout Australian and overseas collections. It's just absolutely stunning.
Yes.
So while I line up the next one, before I line up the next couple of pictures, let me share with you the day that I was welcomed and adopted by an Aboriginal tribe here in Australia. A few years ago, I was presenting at a conference called Daytime Dreaming. And these amazing women saw me just before I was about to go up on stage. And they said, "You can't go on like that. We need to welcome you to the tribe." And so I got my initiation outside the venue. It was just the most emotional experience I've ever had. And that was my first welcome to Australia by the Aboriginal people of this country. So this was my rite to ceremony passage.
W-E. Yeah. Okay.
I'm too small. You're a special being like me. I'm a star, the moon, the planet. Your planet. When you see us through the creation, sun, moon, and stars. That's the first song we do. Right? Take that in. And this one here, I'll put on my mother's feet on it. Right? She's rubbing. This is. Why? Because we women, we be creators of children. And my mother, she's scrubbing. And then she laid because she took part in the home. That's scrubbing. She took part in that. Three dogs on here?
Do we want it on the stage or pretend you're on fire? But I know you've got stage decorations. I don't know, I feel like we should just take that.
That's your you travel twice. You travel twice.
You hear what she's saying? You travel twice. Now you know.
Travel twice, and I close my ears. That's what I do. Better? You close it, right? Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. I just want some talk. Oh, some of them already left. I have my favorite one. I'm ready for my green. I'm here in Byron Bay, Australia, with Mother Urania, one of my sisters. Oh, wow. I think a lot of in the street.
That's better.
So this is Gertrude. I'm here in Byron Bay, Australia. I've come all the way from Zimbabwe through many lands, many seas, to meet my sisters for the first time. Thank you for accepting me. You're welcome.
Wow. That made me emotional.
It was a very emotional experience.
I love what she said to you when she put the marks on your chin about women being creators, because we bring children into the world. And then the 3 dots on your head for the sun, moon, and the stars. But I missed what was represented on the arms.
On my arms, you said you are a traveler. You have traveled many journeys.
Oh. And
that's why I choke up every time I watch that video, because of the accuracy of how she depicted who I am.
That's pretty cool.
And I'll play one more short video. We have a guest, Wayne. Lovely to see you. I'm just going to play one more short video, then we'll have you on. So bear with me. How are you?
We don't have sound on.
Say something, Wayne. We can't hear you.
He might need to put join in. He might need to press.
So Wayne, go out and come back in again. Your sound is not coming through. Just drop out of the call and come back in.
Oh my goodness.
So I'll play the last little short video. She it's really short, but she said so many profound things, and I wasn't really prepared for this welcome, you know. And I just had a friend who had my phone, and she captured a few things that she was saying, but this was the first thing she said to me. And she was the elder in this group.
They have had their chance in looking after this. They have had their chance in looking after this world. The world is now being placed into the hands of the women. Wow.
So there she was basically saying men have had their chance to look after this world. And the world is now being put in the hands of women. So this is the importance of our work, Jerry, as the Herstory movement. We have to take back control of what is happening in the world. All of these wars would not start if women were in leadership positions. You look at what's happening in Ukraine right now, how Russia will bomb civilians, women and children are caught in the crossfire of a nonsensical war. And that's why I'm so passionate about building this platform and empowering women to use their voices. So it looks like Wayne is back. Wayne, can you hear me? Again, try and say something, Wayne.
He may not be able to hear you yet.
He can't hear you. Now, let me see. I think Wayne emailed us her video.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, there we go. How are you?
We can't see her, though.
It's nighttime. Wayne, how are you? Wayne, can you hear me? All right, we're going to play her video. She's based in Zimbabwe, so she's probably...
Hello, everyone. My name is Wayne. I'm fine, and you? I'm married. Yes, I can hear you. I have 3 children, and I'm 29 years old. I'm from Zimbabwe in Bulawayo, and I would like to thank you so much for making me part of this program. Today, I would like to share my story with every one of you. I was raised by my mother after my father just left us, telling my mother that he was going job hunting. He left us till today. He hasn't come home. He just left home. I was 8 years old by then, and I had still I had still a long way to go with my education. I needed a father. I needed both my parents to be there for me. But unfortunately, my father just chose to leave us. Life became so hard for us because my mother had no job. My mother had no business for herself. Life became so very hard to an extent that I didn't have enough education. And today, I am not employed. I don't have a business that I'm running so far. But I've got that zeal to start my own business. I've got that zeal because since 8 years old, today I'm 29 years old, I've watched my mother struggling. Here and there, my mother struggling to make ends meet, to pay fees, to provide food for us, to provide clothing. It became so very hard for my mother because she had no job. I want to change. I want to change the fact that my mother struggled. I don't want to struggle as well. I've got 3 children. I don't want my children to suffer. I don't want my children to struggle. I don't want my children to live the life that I lived. That's why today I have a vision with me. I have a vision to build a legacy for my children. I have a vision so that I can be an independent woman who knows how to work for herself, who knows how to stand and do something for herself. I've got a piece of land that I want to work on. So far, I don't have a capital to drill a bore. So far, I don't have a capital to buy Jojo tanks. I don't have a capital to buy the solar panels so that I can start working on that piece of land. But my zeal and my passion is in farming. I want to be a young farmer. Of course, there is a hard work. Farming goes with the hard work. But I am willing to do whatsoever it takes so that I can be somebody in life. I want to build a legacy for my children. And above all, in my community, there are very few women that are running their own businesses. There are very few women who knows how to stand besides the income of their husbands. This project that I want to engage in, this project that I want to start, I want to empower women. I want to teach women, to educate them on how to stand, on how to work hard so that they can provide for their children, they can provide for their families without relying on their husbands' salaries. Gone are those days when women will just wait for the women's salaries, for the men's salaries. Gone are those days. Gone are those days. A community without empowered women is just as dead. Today, I just want to remind women with this project. I want to remind women of who they are, the strength that they have. If a woman is determined to do something, that thing can benefit the whole community, the whole society. Being a woman is not all about cooking for the children. It's not all about just looking after the children. But a woman has to stand up and be independent. A woman has to stand up and do some work so that she can be financially stable herself. There are a lot of responsibilities that women are having in a home. There are a lot of responsibilities. So now, today, with this vision of mine, I would like to remind women of who they are. I want to remind women of the power that they have in themselves. I would like to remind women that the future is not promised to anyone. Of course, I might be having a husband today, but I don't know what might happen tomorrow. I don't know what can happen in the future. So, with this vision that I have, with this vision that I have today, I want to empower and educate them, at the same time reminding them of who they are, the power that they have. Farming in itself, because I'll be growing some vegetables, I'll be growing some mealies. Besides selling, I can feed my children. Besides selling, my children cannot go to bed with an empty stomach. Same as other women. I will educate them on how to grow different vegetables, different things. Firstly, so that they can provide for their families. And secondly, so that if they grow in knowledge and in putting more effort, they can sell those products that they will be growing, and then get money to take the children to school, and then they get money to do everything that they need to do. So now, with farming, I can provide for my family. With farming, I know even in my community, there are not many people who are engaged in farming. So now if I start growing vegetables and everything that I can grow, I know most it will benefit my community. Some people, they go to town to buy vegetables, but I know if I start with this project, I know it will also help the community as a whole. The market will be just nearby. The market will be just nearby. I am a determined woman. I want to stand up. I want to change my story. I don't want I don't want my children to struggle. I don't want to struggle myself just because my mother struggled. I want to stand up and work for myself. I want to stand up and work for my children. Gone are those days when woman will be just for bearing children only. Life has changed so much. Gone are those days when women will just wait for the salaries from men. Women can just do something for themselves and their children. I thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
So that was Wayne. Wayne, if you are here, can you hear us? You can switch off your video if it's because we're going to ask you some questions. We want your audio to be nice and clear. Okay. Wayne? Now we can't hear her again. So this is the issues we have with technology in Zoom. Wayne, can you hear me?
4 o'clock.
Wayne? We can't hear you. So again, drop out of the call and come back in again. Just try it one more time while I summarize your story, because I listened to your video several times. So Wayne's mom was abandoned by her husband. He said he was going to look for a job somewhere and he never came back. And she struggled to bring up her kids. And what Wayne is appealing for is help, funding, so she can start farming. She has a piece of land. She wants to grow vegetables. She wants to look after chickens. And I've got some exciting news, because my brother and I are starting a training center in Kwekwe. And I know, Wayne, you're based in Bulawayo. We're raising funds to train 100 women on how to look after chickens. We want to look after chickens that hatch eggs and for meat. And we're going to be starting a feeding program in the rural schools in Zimbabwe to make sure that every single child has a meal, at least one meal a day. So Wayne, I will email you and connect you with my brother in Kwekwe. I'll give you his phone number. Then we can find out how big your section of land is. We'll organize and send you some money to go to Kwekwe for training. We will help you with money for seed. I need to know if you have a borehole. If you're going to start market gardening and growing vegetables, you'll need water. So if you don't have a borehole, find out from the companies that sink boreholes how much that would cost. And then we will raise the funds to try and support and help you. So again, she's dropped out of the call, but I will edit this video and send it to her. And if anybody out there would like to support this project, again, another huge initiative. So Jerry, what's happened with our family is, as you know, we lost our mom in 2020.
Yes.
My father died in 2018. But my parents were market gardeners. They left us with 10 acres of land. So we are wanting to turn our parents' home into a training center. Wow. Where we empower women to get skills so they can look after their families. They produce produce that we can distribute in the rural schools in Zimbabwe, where most kids don't get 2 meals a week if they're lucky.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that project.
Oh, yeah. What a great idea. I love gardening. I always have had a garden at my home.
Yeah.
So
we now have about 500, small scale farmers who already come on board. It's an association that was created in my hometown. And my brother has just been appointed the treasurer for this organization. And now we're going out there and looking for funds to really scale. So I'm really excited about that. So that was Wayne. Thank you so much, Wayne. I know you tried to come on and it was a bit challenging, but yeah. The next video I'm going to share is a presentation by yours truly, me. Or maybe I might save this one, Jerry, so you play it when I'm looking after my grandson. My daughter is about to leave, so I'm going to have him.
I don't have the ability to open it up. We tried yesterday. I didn't have the ability to open up anything on the feed.
What you're going to do is I'll put this link in the chat. Let me show you how to do this one. It's not a video, it's a video link. So click on the video link.
See if I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
pause the video?
Okay,
Okay.
I can
Okay.
get to it, but I can't bring it back to StreamYard.
Yeah, I want to show you how to do it.
Okay.
So click on share at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
And share screen.
Share screen. Where's share screen?
It says slides, extra camera, video file, and share screen.
No, what I get is enable WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter. I don't get that. I don't get the same things that this is the same thing I got yesterday. I don't get share screen. I get share. Let me try share. Okay, let me try share. But where am I sharing it to? That's the only thing. Is
Okay,
it?
so what do you see when you press share?
When I push share, wait, let me get back to where I started. I have enabled or embedded. I have WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, email, talk. It has a whole bunch of places I could share it to, but not to StreamYard.
How did you come into the call, Jerry? Did you come in using my login?
Yes. I came in the way I came in yesterday.
Interesting that you're seeing a different interface to what we would see.
Yeah, this was a challenge we had yesterday that I couldn't open it up.
Okay. All right. I'll share it from here. And maybe tomorrow, if we both come in a little bit early, we can brainstorm and see what's actually happening with the interface you're seeing compared to what we see.
Okay. I won't be here tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, don't worry. Next time you come,
okay,
we'll find time to do a bit of training so I can see what you're actually seeing on your side.
Okay, sounds great.
All right. So this is an interview that was done at Robert Morris University where I was talking about my book. I was being interviewed by the head of the English department around my very first book, which is called Born on the Continent. And it gives you a little bit of an insight of what my book is about and the vision and the mission behind it.
Welcome to Literature Out Loud, sponsored by RMU Radio and Roon, the Robert Morris University Literary Magazine. I'm John Lawson. I'm joined in the studio today by RMU student Danielle Kaiser. Hi, Danielle.
Hello, Dr. Lawson.
Our guest on Literature Out Loud is Gertrude Matchey. Among her many other accomplishments, Gertrude is a poet, memoirist, entrepreneur, actor, and playwright. She was born in Zimbabwe and lives in New Zealand. Gertrude is currently serving as the Rotary International Scholar here at Robert Morris. Gertrude Matchey, it's a privilege to welcome you to Literature Out Loud.
Thank you, Dr. Lawson. It's a pleasure to be here.
Your life story is so rich and varied that there's no way to do it justice in the time available to us today, so I'd like to focus as much as possible on your writing. To give our listeners a sense of the breadth of your writing, I wonder if you'd mind starting us off with a poem, and then perhaps we could move to a passage of prose from your memoir.
Awesome. I'd love to do that. I'm going to start with a poem that I wrote for my mother. I was actually returning from the United States, and I was flying over the Swiss Alps, and I looked outside the window and captured this view. My mum was very anxious when I left home, so this was a little poem to her. It's entitled The Swiss Alps, A Bird's Eye View. I too saw God through fog, high up on high, where clouds and mountain peaks do meet, and frozen lakes and icy falls are there untouched to keep. And crimson sunsets merge gently by where white clouds lie. And if I die, my soul to keep, please, Mama, do not weep, for I saw God's majestic beauty sleep.
Wonderful.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, you've written this memoir titled Born on the Continent, Ubuntu. What does that term mean, Ubuntu?
Ubuntu is a Zulu word. It's actually a philosophy which literally translated, we would say, Ubuntu ngamuntu ngabantu. The literal translation is, I am because you are. So I could not be human unless you were human, acknowledging my humanity and vice versa. It's a philosophy that talks about empathy, it talks about compassion, but most important, it talks about the connectedness of humanity, that we are one organism. But somewhere in the evolution of mankind, we've forgotten this. So I decided to use it as the subtitle to my book and the subcontext to the book, and wove the Ubuntu philosophy in all my stories.
That's pretty.
Would you read a passage from the book?
Yes, I would love to read a passage. I picked an interesting passage. It's all about my English teacher, the man who inspired me to write. His name was Mr. Davies. I remember my Form 3 English literature teacher, Mr. Davies, a tall, thin man with shaggy brown hair and brown eyes, who always seemed to look scruffy, even though it was first thing in the morning. Mr. Davies came from England, and he helped to cultivate the passion and love I have for English literature. He introduced us to African literature and the writings of famous authors like Ngugi wa Thiong'o and Mchea Chebe. Later, I studied their work for A-level English literature exams, and their writing helped me to clarify in my mind the effects of colonialism had on my people. We were living in a post-colonial era, and the effect and impact of the English language, which was brought to Africa, was considerable. They addressed the implications and the way English had affected the intellectual makeup of the African people. In his book, Decolonizing the Mind, Ngugi teaches about the effects of the British Empire and how Europe had planted its memory on the newfound landscape by exploration and by naming places. For example, in the United States, places like New York, New Jersey, New Cleveland, New England, New Orleans were an effort by the British to erase the old names and establish the new. So the previous memory, the pre-New York, is no longer there, and New York becomes the starting point and the fundamental memory of that place. In Zimbabwe, we were taught in our history class that David Livingstone discovered Victoria Falls in 1855. But what was it called prior to that date? Did he not discover it? He was the first white man to see it, yes, but he did not discover it. It was always there. And it was called by the local Batonga people, Mutsuwatunga, which means the smoke that thunders. That name has now been lost in history, and it is difficult to bring it back. Even 20 years after Zimbabwean independence, the fear is that people will not know what we're talking about if the name is restored. Hence, the new memory becomes the fundamental memory of that place. It's the Victoria Falls instead of Mutsuwatunga.
You know, Gertrude, listening to you read, it would be unbelievable that English was not your first language, but I understand that it wasn't. What other languages did you grow up speaking?
I speak Shona. My mother tongue is Shona, which is the predominant African language in Zimbabwe. I'm married to a man who is Ndebele, so I speak a bit of Ndebele as well. And by living in South Africa, I had to learn Afrikaans, and I also picked up a bit of Dutch because of Afrikaans language is very much Dutch-based. But the South African language that I learned while I was there was Zulu and Xhosa.
So what does that mean in terms of how you actually transact your own internal thinking and your writing? Do you think first in some other language and then sort of go through a process of translation, or do you?
It's interesting because I think in both. There are some mornings where I wake up with a poem in Shona that I translate into English and it's perfect. Majority of the time, I think I would have to say I do think in English more than anything else because I'm living in an English-speaking environment. I communicate a lot more with English than in Shona. So English has got a very, very big influence. But I sometimes hear the Shona nuances creep into the English sometimes, which is pretty interesting.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Are your works available in Shona?
No, everything I've written is in English.
Many writers talk about the ways that their environments affect their writing. The landscape, the people, the culture. You lived in so many places: Zimbabwe, London, Norway, South Africa, New Zealand, the US. Do you notice changes of location affect your writing?
Definitely. I've had people tell me who've read the book that the pace of the book changed when I left Africa. I think because Africa's pace is very, very slow. And the way I told the stories when I was still in Africa was kind of in my grandmother's tone. Because my grandmother was an amazing storyteller. And yeah, I have a lot of people who say that when they get to the part where I'm in New Zealand, the book tends to speed up. And I'm not as slow in describing things the way I did when I was in Africa. So yeah, definitely the pace.
Interesting. You've described your life's purpose as to serve as the voice of Africa. What does it mean to serve as the voice of a continent, and why do you feel that Africa needs a voice?
I come from an environment where, when I say a voice, people do not have an opportunity to share their stories. An environment where there's no technology, you don't have access to the outside world really the way you do in the West. And I think I've been privileged to be where I am, to have traveled in all the countries that I've traveled to. And there are a lot of voiceless people out there, and especially Africa's children and Africa's women. So I guess when I took on the role, if you like, I just felt that I have a voice that people listen to. It's a gift, and I think I need to use it to the maximum to share our stories.
That sounds like a major responsibility that you've taken on.
Huge. It is huge.
What books have you written, and how are they available?
The two books that I have in hard copy are Born on the Continent Ubuntu and another book called It's Not About What Happens That Matters. They're both available on Amazon and on my website, which is africalifeonline.com. I have several ebooks that I've written in the last few years. One is called Speaking from the Heart, where I basically coach inspirational speakers how to deliver authentic presentations. I wrote a book called How to Grow a Money Tree, which is really how people can take their ideas and monetize them and turn them into money. I wrote a book called The Property Squillionaire, which is a book where I coach people who want to go into property investing because I have a property investing business. And Living the Secret is the other book that I've written. And I'm also currently working on another book called The Power of Giving, which I'm hoping I'll have out by the end of the year.
It's great.
Gosh, I knew you'd written a lot of stuff. I didn't realize it was that much. I mentioned earlier that you have experience both as an actor and a playwright. Would you talk a bit about writing plays and how your experience as an actor influences your playwriting?
The plays, again, to me, it's just storytelling. I actually wrote the first play when I was 19. World Health came to our village in a helicopter, educating people about HIV and AIDS by dropping flyers and free condoms. But half of the people in our village could not read or write, and they were picking up the papers and lighting their fires. And I realized that the campaign was very ineffective. And the way we pass down knowledge in Africa is through stories. Every story my grandmother told me had a moral, had a lesson to it. So I wrote back to World Health, and I was sponsored to write a play with an AIDS theme to it, which I would go and perform in all of the rural villages. My group was called Just for Women Theatre, and my mission was to reach the rural Zimbabwean woman who hasn't gone to school and empower her with the knowledge of what AIDS was about and how the virus was spreading. My acting has been very influential in the way that I write. I think when you've been on stage, you know what it's like as an actor. So it does make the playwriting process to be a little bit easier. So definitely, I think my acting has helped in that sense.
Indeed. And I understand that you have a screenplay underway as well.
Yes, yes. I'm actually working on a screenplay based on my book. I realized that not many people are aware of how much HIV and AIDS has affected Africa. You know, when I give my presentations and talks, and I talk about how the life expectancy of a Zimbabwean female is 34 and 37 if you're male, it's a shock. I can see you're shocked. Not many people know this story. And when I moved to New Zealand, I got the opportunity to work with Peter Jackson when he was filming King Kong. Had a part as an extra in that film, took part in Avatar, and it inspired me to go back to school and do a course in TV and film production. And I started writing a film script based on my book. So film, when you think about these big blockbuster movies, you can reach millions of people with that kind of film. If I did a documentary about AIDS, I don't think anybody would watch it. And I think my film is going to be one of the first spiritually healing films ever made. The reason why I had to find a mass way of reaching people is because we're dying by the thousands in Africa. I have a lot of people I need to reach with this movie, and it's all about us changing our minds around the disease. Poverty, AIDS is a story. And when you buy into a story, it's like cancer. If somebody tells you you've got 6 months to live, guess what? If you believe that story, within 6 months, you're dead. And this is what's happening in Africa with AIDS. The minute somebody's diagnosed HIV positive, it's now a belief system. You watch your uncles, your aunts, your cousins dying around you, and people have lost hope. So that's what the film is going to be about.
I know that you personally have lost relatives, and both on your side and your husband's side.
Yeah.
You've worked in many different fields as an actor, a COBOL programmer, a fashion designer, a systems designer, and project manager, and the list goes on. How have those experiences affected your writing?
They've impacted dramatically on the way that I am. I'm one of those people who does multiple things at the same time. I think when I was little, I was probably ADD. My poor mother, she said that I would start something and stop the next thing and stop the next thing, but I got everything done. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of impacted on me in a number of ways, because with the COBOL programming, for example, and just being in the IT field, I have a very systematic way of doing things, which has helped in terms of my writing. Fashion designing, it's again creativity. It's like, how do I create something out of nothing? And when I'm writing, I kind of tend to go back to that, and I have to create from nothingness. And it's a beautiful space because it works both in art and in literature and in writing as well. So yeah, I think my many lives have helped.
Am I correct in assuming that you designed and created the garment that you're wearing?
I was just going to ask that.
Yes, I did. This is a tie-dye. So I dyed the fabric and I made it as well. And I did all the embroidery. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Turning to your early days as a writer, why did you start? And who inspired you?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I started because I was stuck. I went to white schools. If you know anything about Zimbabwean history, we had a very similar apartheid system to South Africa. And my parents realized that they had to educate their kids. We had to go to really good schools, and they were always private schools, and they were always white owned. In fact, my sister and I were always the first two Black kids in every school I ever went to, and nobody would play with me. So I was a bookworm. I stuck my head in books, and I think that's really where it started. The books and the stories were an escape for me in that environment. That's really where it started.
Interesting.
Mm.
I saw the same phenomenon in a certain way from the other side. I was in the segregated South as I was growing up. And,
so you can relate to what I'm saying, right?
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Yeah. Often when I teach my students about writing, they don't immediately perceive a connection between reading and writing. And for that reason, I'd like to ask what you're currently reading and how you see reading and writing connecting in your own work.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so right now I'm reading a couple of books. One is called The Way of the Wizard Merlin by Deepak Chopra. And it talks about living backwards in time. seeing the end before you start things. Fascinating book. And the reason why I picked it up again, I had read it a few years ago, but it kind of helps me, I guess, tap into my future self to ask myself how I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve right now. It's a beautiful reminder in that sense. And I've got a number of goals that I'm trying to reach by the end of this year. Like I think I might have mentioned to you before that I'm trying to build a medical center and a library in my village. So I picked that book up again, and it is helping me just clear my thoughts, because I believe that we have all the answers to all of our problems. We're born with all of the knowing of how we're going to do what we're going to do. And your future self knows how you're going to get there, and you can actually ask yourself those questions and come up with the solutions. The other book I'm reading is called Restoring the Sacred Hoop by Kerry Bakanga. He is an American Indian writer. And because I'm working on a series of 7 portraits, they are pictures of people who've inspired me. In fact, when I walked into the room, I mentioned that you've got John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix on the wall. These are people who have inspired me all my life, and they're part of my series of portraits. So they're people who have taught me how to dream. Imagine was a song that I just absolutely love, just imagining this other world. I'm painting Mother Teresa, Oprah, Martin Luther King, President Obama, and Gandhi. And the series is going to be called The Healing of the Sacred Hoop. So I am combining 2 mythologies, my Ubuntu philosophy and an American Indian philosophy, where we're all saying the same thing, which is that humanity is one, and that at some point we were all connected. In an American Indian mythology, they say that the 4 nations broke away. This is why the world is in all of the problems it's in. And it's time that we all come back together again and create a healing. In Ubuntu, my grandmother would say that the human race is like the human body, that if you start to bleed, when you cut yourself, your white blood cells will rush to that point to heal it. In a week's time, you can't even see the scar. And that's how we should be responding to each other in the world, so that if the 7 billion people on this planet hear that there's an earthquake in Haiti, and we each give $1, guess what? Haiti is going to be restored in 1 day. But humanity has forgotten this. We're all living in this not enoughness mentality. So those are the 2 projects I'm working on right now, and I'm having fun with it. And yeah, reading the books definitely helped with the creativity.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you've set yourself such small goals.
Could you describe your writing process? How did you get started in your writing?
Oh, my writing process. Like I said, I wake up sometimes with words in my head. I wake up, especially the poetry, the words just come out perfectly. I actually have to get to a pen and paper fast enough to download. I call it downloading. Most of my writing is inspired. Normally it's something emotional. It could be an incident. It could be an event that is going on in my life or around the world. When I have to force myself to sit down and write, very, very difficult. But the way I've kind of overcome that is I almost have to remove myself from the writing process and tell the genius in me, who is by my side right here, that it's time for us to go to work and that I'm ready and I'm going to be the scribe. So when you remove yourself from the equation, it's a liberating feeling, because then something else takes over. It's not me doing the writing, and my job is just to be the scribe to get the words out.
You know, I gave the class that Danielle is in a handout, a essay by Donald Murray, who talks about how the writing takes over and ends you up in places you never anticipated.
Yes.
Sounds like exactly what you're describing. Would you conclude with a final reading for us?
Yes, I think I would like to share a passage about Ubuntu. Really nice for our listeners to get a true essence of what Ubuntu really is.
Great.
Okay. How do I begin to describe the concept of Ubuntu? My personal journey has been a spirit-led journey that has teleported me to one of the safest and most vibrant cities in the world. Before I came to Wellington, New Zealand, I didn't know my true self, and my storytelling had been perceived as nothing of value. I grew up learning the craft through observation, watching those around me work hard and try to make an honest living in an environment where storytellers never get the full rewards for their efforts. And then I came to New Zealand, and like an Olympic gold medalist, I started the race with no shoes. I found my shoes in Wellington. I feel that I can win this race. I can see the finish line and victory is mine. Finally, I'm in a time and a space where I can realize my full potential, a place that gives me the opportunity to express myself through the universal language that is storytelling. My coming to this part of the world has been a unique crossing over of oceans, a crossing over of mountains, of cultures, and a crossing over from nightmare to dreams. The biggest challenge faced by any immigrant in a new country is the frustration of not being understood. We create literally expression from our context of our pasts, our culture, our upbringing, and in essence, our very being. What is important is that we remain true to ourselves and allow the creative energy within to flow. We have to learn to find innovative ways of marketing ourselves. We need to learn how to network and find maximum exposure and hopefully to fulfill our dreams. We need to learn to utilize technology such as the internet and to look for opportunities around the country and around the world. Ubuntu is a Zulu word that serves as the spiritual foundation of African societies. It is the unification of a world vision inscribed in a Zulu maxim that says, Ubuntu ngamuntu ngabantu. A person is a person through other persons. Ubuntu articulates the basic respect and compassion for others. I'm happy to say that I have found Ubuntu right here in New Zealand. From the day I got off the plane, I have met people who have extended a helping hand when I needed it. I have met people who have shown me the way when I got lost, and who have introduced me to other people, and so expanded my network of business associates and friends. So I ask you, in a world full of people, why should there be hunger? In a world full of people, why should we feel lost? In a world full of people, why do we experience loneliness? Why should there be wars? In a world full of people, why are we still dying of this dreaded disease called AIDS? This is my question. If men and women could only feel for each other, the way the world would be in perfect harmony and balance. If we all practice Ubuntu on a daily basis, there would be a group solidarity. There should be respect, compassion, human dignity, and a humanitarian orientation in all things. Let's go back to the way we were. If Africa is the cradle of humanity, let us learn the old ways from her. Although Africa can never go back to her pre-colonial starting point, we have the ability to re-establish contact with the very essence of her being. The person with Ubuntu is open and available to others and is affirming of others. A person with Ubuntu has the self-assurance that comes from knowing that they belong to a greater whole and are not diminished when others are humiliated and diminished, when others are tortured, prosecuted, or oppressed. So, this simply is my message. A person is a person through other people. Let's revive and practice Ubuntu. Thank you.
Ubuntu. That was Gertrude Machi reading from Born on the Continent, her memoir. Gertrude, for our listeners, will you remind us how we can follow your career and have access to your writings?
My website is africaaliveonline.com.
africaaliveonline.com.
And if people want to Facebook me, please do. But you have to mention that you listen to the show, otherwise I will not friend you. I get thousands of invitations on Facebook because of my presentations and talks. So Facebook is a great platform to connect with people.
Indeed. I guess our show needs a Facebook page, doesn't it? My guest today has been Gertrude Machi. Thanks so much for speaking with us today, Gertrude.
Thank you.
And thanks to Danielle Kaiser for your participation today.
Thank you.
This has been Literature Out Loud, sponsored by RMU Radio and Roon, the Robert Morris University Literary Magazine. I'm John Lawson. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
I love that interview. I've never seen that one. No, I as I was listening to it and the way you're answering your questions, I knew from the very minute I met you that there was a connection that I didn't understand.
Right.
And that interview helped me understand why the connection happened the way it did, because the philosophy of Ubuntu is, although I'm not from Africa, obviously, I have always felt that the same way you do. If the world just looked at each other and accepted each other, man, could we do? I mean, if every person respected the other people around them, can you imagine how much good we could do?
Yeah.
And there would not be hunger.
Yeah.
It's that simple. It's that simple. I mean, I wish, we could get that through. And that's maybe what we're going to be able to accomplish by doing these summits, because we have to share it. We have to let people know that it doesn't always there doesn't need to be war. I've believed that from the time I was a very young child, that there just doesn't need to be. Well, my dad raised 6 kids by himself, and then raised my brother by my mom's second marriage.
Right.
And, in my family, I had, my brothers and sisters would fight with each other, but I never did. I could not stand contention. It isn't a part of my being, and that's the way it's not the way I grew up, it's the way I am. It's just, I've never felt comfortable in contentious situations.
Yeah.
And I've not had to live in very much contention. I was married to my first husband for 31 years when he passed away, and we didn't ever fight.
Oh, that's so beautiful to hear, Jerry. We hear so many sad stories about marriage. Sorry,
Yeah.
my lights are falling all over the place today for some reason. Give me a second just to sort out my lighting. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Fighting with my light there for a minute. Yeah, so you said something in the beginning there. What you don't remember is that we are all from Africa. Africa is the cradle of humanity. So you feel it, it's in your bones, it's in your DNA.
Well, that's part of the reason I can't wait to go.
Exactly.
I really do believe I'm going to feel at home there.
Yeah.
I went on a humanitarian mission to El Salvador some years ago. And boy, I felt so comfortable, with those people. I felt like that's where I was supposed to be at that time. I had a mission to do, and I got to meet people that were there. I didn't want to leave.
Right? Some places are hard to explain.
Yeah. And in the village that we did a dedication in one of the villages, and in 1983 there had been a massacre of the children in that village. And as I walked through and saw the names of all the children that were massacred, and my heart broke so hard, just so hard. I thought, this is not the way the world's supposed to be. People are not supposed to do things like that to children. That is not what God meant us to be. It just isn't.
Yeah. And that's what we need to constantly be reminding ourselves of. And, when I look at the state the world is in right now, people have forgotten who we truly are. We've
Right.
forgotten each other. And that's where the majority of the world's issues stem from. It's really quite sad.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. We just, I believe that we're made to love one another.
Mm-hmm.
And if we love one another, we wouldn't do the things that we do to each other. And I pray every day that people will listen to that message.
Powerful, powerful stuff, Jerry. Absolutely powerful. But we have to live with hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe if there's just enough of us waking people up to this fact, there will be a way.
Yes.
Enough.
That's the best part about being in this tribe. Do you realize how many women, I mean, of course you realize, there have been so many women since the beginning of when we started this back in Las Vegas. There have been so many women have come through, and we've connected heart to heart.
Yeah.
So many different, I love having girlfriends in all these countries. And that's what I feel like. I feel like these are my girlfriends. These are, if we were here, we'd all be going out to lunch together. We'd be sharing our lives together. And we get to do that. I mean, even though we're on different continents, we get to do that. And that's my favorite part of Herstory Circle, is because we get to have those connections. I remember when I first met Nina.
Yes.
She and that woman, I someday I want to meet her, because she just our hearts connected so quickly. There's several people that I felt that way with, but everyone that has been on here, I just like listening to Wayne and her dream of being able to start a garden so that her community can benefit from it. Not so she can benefit from it, so her community can benefit from it. What a worthy cause. What a worthy dream.
Well, those are the women that we are connecting with, Jerry, and it's so humbling to be able to portray these amazing human beings and share their stories and spread them.
It is. It is very humbling.
I love it. So we got a audio recording from one of our members who's gone and recorded an EP. Yvonne Kagende is based in Harare in Zimbabwe, and her friend Comfort Miami. We're going to share that next. We don't own the copyright to this music, but she asked us to share it. We'll play that for a few minutes. And Jerry, if you can give me the link to your grandchildren, we'll play that afterwards.
I don't know.
Is it online on YouTube?
Let me go on. I don't know if the new songs, there's lots of them on YouTube. Yes.
I know. That's why I want you to find it.
Okay, I'll pick one.
If it's online, I'll play this one first. Okay.
Okay. All righty.
All right. Awesome.
There is a place where I belong. Into your presence I boldly come, away from fear, away from shame, into your love, in Jesus' name. Ruler of my heart, you're the anchor of my soul. Peace within my storm, I give you all control. Ruler of my heart, you're the anchor of my soul. Peace within my storm, I give you all control. When seasons fade and nothing holds, you never fade. Oh, faithful one, from rising sun till kingdom come, you are the one who is to come. Ruler of my heart, you're the anchor of my soul. You are peace within my storm, I give you all control. Ruler of my heart, you're the anchor of my soul. Peace within my storm, I give you all control.
I will run to you. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. I will run to you. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. I will run to you. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. I will run to you. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. The time will come when all is done. I'll be with you in kingdom come. Your light will shine into my night as morning breaks. Oh, what glorious sight!
Okay, so that was some beautiful music. Yvonne, thank you for sharing that with us this morning. Very, very, very inspiring. Jerry, have you found yours, or shall I play another one? You're muted.
I have found some. I just don't know how to share it. I don't know how to send it here.
Just copy and paste the link into the chat.
Okay, let me go do that. You go ahead and play something else while I figure out how to do that.
All right, I'll share. This is yours truly, me singing Summertime. I've just gone back into my singing again. I was challenged to sing at an event last week. My voice is not as strong as it used to be. So this is me singing a few years ago.
That's exciting.
I'm going to go back into it. Velvet is going to help me produced my own EP this year. So this is summertime.
Doesn't matter if you have 10,000.
I'll just get rid of the commercial. Okay. So, Miss Jerry, have you found it? Or give me the name of the song and I'll look for it. You're also muted. Unmute.
I need to have one of my grandchildren show me how to do that. But it is, it is on YouTube. It's called "What Does He Think?"
What does he think? Okay, let me
I
find
just
it.
can't figure out how to make it go from there to there, and I have to have one of the kids show me how to do that. This is part of being 70, almost 70 years old, that kind of gives me a little pressure.
What does he think? Okay, let me see if I can find it.
Amnon Leahona Olion.
Okay. Let's see.
Their newest songs are not on YouTube yet. They haven't been released. They're that new. But
wow.
This one's one of my favorites. There's several that
I found it. So please just cue it up. And then your grandbabies can serenade us with some music today. Hey, what does he think? All right, so here goes. Share screen. We will end our day with music today.
Wonderful.
I hope I got the right version.
I didn't get an invitation. I really wish I didn't.
You know what? I saw 2 versions of it, and I would prefer the version where they are on camera.
Yes, me too.
It's just audio, so sorry about that. Let's see. Can you guys see the screen? Oh, yeah, you can. Okay.
They get together on the weekends. I didn't get an invitation. I really wish I didn't care, but I guess that's just my disposition. When I say my prayers at night, I pray that he will make it right. They don't really care about me. I know what they think. I know what they think.
But what does he think about me? What does he think about me? When others say I'll never be enough, I know that I can always feel his love, love. What does he think about me? What does he think about me? When others say I'll never be enough, I know that I can always feel his love, love. They get together on the weekends. I didn't get an invitation. I really wish I didn't care, but I guess that's just my disposition. Cause when I pray at night, I pray that he will make it right. Cause they don't really care about me. I know what they think. I know what they think. But what does he think about me? What does he think about me? When others say I'll never be enough, I know that I can always feel his love, love. What does he think about me? What does he think about me? When others say I'll never be enough, I know that I can always feel his love, love.
Sometimes I'm looking for love
In the wrong places,
when it was always
hard. Though the world always changes, his love is the forever kind.
So when I feel like I need
it,
and life's got me overwhelmed, all that I
have to do is make some room and ask myself,
what does he think about me?
what does he think about me? When others say I'll never be enough, I know that I can always feel his love, love. What does he think about me? What does he think about me? When others say I'll never be enough, I know that I can always feel his love. I know that I can always. I know that I can.
Hey, yeah. What does he think about me?
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our performance. What does he think? I like this song because it explains how we should focus on what the Lord thinks about us and how others think about us.
What does he think? The message is so pure, and I love this song because it gives us a sense of hope that someone greater out there is looking out for us. So, hope you guys liked it.
I can't hear you. Are you muted? Oh, there we go.
You must be so proud of those babies.
Yeah. Now that performance was a worldwide youth conference that they did before they went to American Idol. And
Oh,
they were
wow.
still pretty young in their singing career. They've they've expanded their horizons quite a bit. He has a song called Mamacita, and it's a Spanglish song, and it's just amazing. And Leahona they both have written a lot of new music. And
Right.
The other day, and they said for the next album, they've already got 5 or 6 new songs.
Oh my gosh.
So it's exciting to watch them grow, and they're working really hard with voice coaches, and they're putting their all into their career. And it's 5 o'clock. Very, very happy that they're not sitting back waiting for something to happen. They're trying to make it happen. And it just makes me really happy. There's another one that Leahona did for that same worldwide conference that I'll share on another day we're on. It's just it would be a great way to start our meeting one of the day, our summit.
All right, so look for it. You're not with us tomorrow, but you're with us the day after, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe let's start with that.
Okay.
If you can just find the link or the name of the song and send it to me.
Okay.
I'll queue it up, and yeah, that would be awesome.
Amen.
So we're going to end the day with 2 more songs that I have sung. Like I said, Velvet is going to come to Melbourne. We're going to produce a LP together of African music. I want to put my poetry to music with her help.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. We're going to have a 2-woman show in December. And Jerry, that's when I want you to be coming to Australia to perform and to speak at the conference. So this song, I'll start with a sad song, Tears from Heaven. I love the song. It was written by Eric Clapton when his son died.
I remember the song.
He fell out of a window, I think, in a hotel. It was a very sad story. So it's called Tears in Heaven. And then we will end with Killing Me Softly by Tracy Chapman.
Another good one. Sounds good.
Okay, here we go.
If I saw you in heaven, would it be the same? If I saw you in heaven, I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in Would you hold my hand if I saw you in heaven? Would you help me stand if I saw you in heaven? I'll find my way through night and day, 'cause I know I just can't stay here in heaven. Time can bring you down, time can bend your knees. Time can break your heart, have you begging please, begging please. sure. And I know there'll be no more tears in heaven. Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Would it be the same if I saw you in heaven? I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in
Okay, so what I had been trying to do was to put together an LP of my favorite songs for my kids. So I recorded this almost 10 years ago, and I thought I would create a legacy box for each of my 3 children and put things that they could remember me by in case they died. So they each have a box with all kinds of little things I've been throwing in over the last 10 years. And one of them was this LP of 10 songs, 10 of my favorite songs that I captured singing karaoke. But I want to go back now and really refine my craft, record an LP this year. And Velvet is going to help me do that. She doesn't know it yet, but she'll know.
Well, she's amazing. I really, really enjoyed listening to her.
You can imagine working with her and producing music with her. It's going to be magical.
It is. It is. So one of the things I would like to do is I don't sing well with my voice, but I sing very, very well with my hands. So sometime when you do a song and we're together, we have to be in the same room.
Right.
I want to sing the song with you in sign language.
Oh, wow.
That's one of my talents, because I'm nationally certified, so I am pretty good at signing. But when I do music in sign language is when I really I do well.
I didn't even know that was possible, that you could sing in sign language, but I guess it's the same as when you're interpreting when somebody's speaking, right?
Exactly. You're basically interpreting what the singer is singing, and you're actually not interpreting it, you're performing it. It's
that's going to be beautiful. So when you come, oh my gosh, you've just added another layer to this whole concert.
Yes. So
that is fantastic.
I would like to do that with you.
Okay. I'm game.
I've done it with Joseph. We did it with when we did our conference last March. Remember?
I remember you did something with Joseph. Yes.
Signed it.
And he was playing the music and you were signing. Oh, I love it.
So
absolutely love it. So let's end our day, because my little man is now waiting for grandma to come and get him.
Okay.
So this is Killing Me Softly by Tracy Chapman. And then we will finish our day and see everybody tomorrow. So we'll just play this, come back online, say our goodbyes, and call it a day.
Okay.
Awesome.
Singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly. time. And so I came to see him and listen for a while. And there he was, this young boy, a stranger to my eyes, strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. I felt so flushed with fever, embarrassed by the crowd. I felt he found my letters and read each one out loud. I prayed that he would finish, but he just kept right on, strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. He sang as if he knew me in all my darkness, and then he looked right through me as if I wasn't there, and he just kept on singing, singing clear and strong, strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song. La 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 strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song, strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song.
Beautiful. Okay, you're muted. Get you. There we go.
I'm muted. So I will probably play all 10 songs as we finish off our online summit.
Nice.
But thank you to everybody who's tuned in today on day 25 of the Herstory Online Summit. We have 6 more days to go to finish off this 31-day challenge. And Jerry, it's just such a pleasure to have you back. You have no idea.
Oh, it's great to be here too.
It's just fantastic. So have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Tune in again, 7 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time, 9 a.m. in New Zealand. Jerry, I think, what time did we start? I think it was 4 p.m. Pacific or 1?
No. I'm in Mountain Time. It's 2 p.m. But it would be 4
p.m.
4 p.m. Eastern Time. So it would be
1 p.m. Pacific. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 p.m. Pacific Time.
So we'll be back tomorrow, everybody, doing our thing. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, Jerry.
Right,
Love you so much. Bye.
Bye. Enjoy that baby.
Oh, I will.